Well, how interesting. Caught on TV. CCTV, in fact, the kind of daring counter-terrorist attack you normally see only in TV shows like Fauda, great show that. A group of Israeli soldiers disguised as patients and doctors, person in a wheelchair even, Muslims, burst into a hospital in the Palestinian West Bank and killed 3 terrorists there, 2 from the Islamic Jihad and 1 a commander with Hamas, the group which slaughtered 1,200 Jews on October 7. This is a war crime, say the usual suspects. This bit, for instance, from Al Jazeera. Their network is funded by Qatar, which actually gives sanctuary to the top leaders of Hamas.
But this is the first time since the beginning of the war that they have actually entered a civilian medical facility in what seems to have been a targeted assassination, and one the Palestinian authorities are calling yet another contravention of international law.
Get off the... Anyway, joining me is Daniel Wild, Deputy Executive Director of the Institute of Public Affairs, and Evelyn Ray, Sky News presenter, a regular commentator on the show when she isn't farming. Since I'm looking at you right now, Evelyn, an attack on a hospital. I heard one legal expert on this station say, well, look, the Israelis should have simply arrested these terrorists over in Palestinian-held territory. Your view?
Look, I'm just going to say it. I personally believe in capital punishment. I think life for a life, and I think that especially applies to terrorists. So, look, my only issue, and that's a big capital if I do have one, is perhaps the possibility when you take actions like this in a hospital that there could be a higher chance of innocent civilians being caught in the crossfire. But let me just add this as well. I'm sitting here in my slippers, talking to you via Zoom, and war and being on the ground is a very different thing. So I can sit here and give you my opinion, but I think there's probably a lot of ins and outs of the operation that we're not privy to. Coming from law enforcement as well, I understand this very well. We're not going to know the intelligence. We're not going to know the modus operandi. We're not going to know their contingency plans. So I can't really make a proper formulated opinion on this. I'm guessing that the targets were hit and no innocent civilians were hit. So I'm guessing that's a great success. Look, in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario when we're not in war, of course arrest is always best. Innocent civilians wouldn't get hit and the proper course of justice. But like I said, I'm sitting here in my armchair feeling pretty cozy, so exactly I don't really want to say too much more.
It's like saying British commandos invading Germany in World War II should have arrested those Germans instead of killing them. But I mean, it doesn't work that way. This would have given Israel a sort of propaganda fillip after all the disasters of October 7 and also the war in Gaza going very slowly. This is something that's a real morale booster for them.
I think you're right, Andrew, and as you say, Israel is at war, and I would have thought this is basic standard operating procedure for a nation that is at war. And, you know, based on reporting, which is all that we can go by, these were terrorists who wanted to inflict potentially significant damage on Israelis or Israel itself. So
these were people from the Islamist groups that committed the atrocities. Both of them still hold hostage. I mean, what the hell? It is a war, guys. They started a war. What do you expect? I mean, honestly, some of the people I heard on the thing today,